Mr. Abhishek Singh, I would request you to please say a few words and kick off this, followed by the others.
Sure.
Thank you, and my fellow panelists who have made a distinguished mark in this space of empowering people. Haqdarshak, I would like to congratulate Aniket and the entire Haqdarshak team for organizing this Yojana Sabha and bringing together almost the entire ecosystem of people who are working in various capacities within the government, outside government, industry, in trying to achieve the common objectives that we have of using technology, of using information, of using access to information to empower people. This has been one of the key governance goals, like any government, whether it's a state government or central government. One of the key challenges that we always face is that not only we design the right schemes and right programs to mitigate poverty, to mitigate livelihoods, to provide housing, to provide food, to all kinds of support to people, but also to ensure how do we ensure that whatever the government does reaches the right people. The last mile challenge. The last mile challenge is not only in telecom and other fields, it's there in the governance, more we explore it. And in that, what we have seen in the last few years, the way technology has enabled bridging that last gap to a great extent. But even when we have done projects like Aadhaar, Mr. Nilekani spoke about Aadhaar, UPI, DigiLocker, and all this array of digital transformation schemes that we have built. But still the basic core challenge remains is that even after making things online, even after making things accessible, still how do we reach the last person? And that's where organizations like Haqdarshak play a big role. Because whatever we may say, we may use technology to ensure that deduplication I can do. But how do we ensure that the right person gets what he should get? That Aadhaar cannot solve. That would require, number one, making people aware of what they are eligible for. Because very often when we look at the schemes that we all implement, government of India has like 80 departments, state governments has got similar number of departments, and each department implements a plethora of schemes for the benefit of people, for the benefit of citizens whom we are mandated to serve. But very often, most people for whom the schemes are designed don't even know that there is a scheme that exists that can help them to address any hardship that they have. If you look at the websites, then you will go. If you can go to the websites of multiple departments, you will be able to find out what they are doing. But how many people in our country have the ability to navigate the numerous websites, download apps, or even if we could go through the CAPTCHAs and go through the weird ways of verifying your identity. Very many people fail at that point. And digital inclusion becomes a big issue over there. So right from the beginning, when we started conceptualizing the Digital India program or its earlier avatar, the National E-Governance program, the issue of digital inclusion has always been at the top of the agenda. So whether it was the common service centers that were set up, so Mahajan is here and he would remember his days like earlier when we were setting up CSCs way back in 2009-10 and trying to ensure that those people who don't have access to a device or don't have access to connectivity or don't know how to navigate a government website or something, how do we ensure that assisted access can be provided? Today we have a network of 500,000 common service centers which are providing these services. Then the problem came in, like every department started making apps, mobile apps for delivery services. But then how do you know which is a legit app? There are so many apps, and I always used to think that in the physical world, the hardship of a citizen was known as running from pillar to post. In the digital world, it becomes going from portal to portal or app to app. And the challenges in the digital world can be much more complex than the physical world. Physical world, you know, कचहरी है, इसमें इस दफ्तर में नहीं होगा, उस दफ्तर में होगा, इस टेबल पे नहीं होगा, उस दफ्तर में होगा. Digital world में you might end up downloading an app which is like a bogus app, a fake app. You might end up paying something for in the hope of getting a job or getting a scholarship or getting a pension or getting a ration card without realizing that there is some scamster from Jamtara or any Jamtara equivalent is operating that. So those complexes become very huge. So in order to solve that, government came up with a unified mobile app for new age governance, the Umang app, which brought together all mobile services on all apps, all public services being delivered online on one platform. So that if you download Umang, which has got now more than 1700 services, that you will know that you are accessing a legit government service, and you can get information, you can get details about that. Then they came in like work which was done by organizations like Haqdarshak and all. Like how do you ensure that people are able to find out about details, find out about schemes? So last year, in fact, an initiative called My Scheme was launched by Honorable Prime Minister, myscheme.gov.in. Very simple. What it does is that you go to we made a laundry list of all the schemes, all the programs which the government implements, and we found that there are certain parameters which are common across schemes and across programs which the government implements. And then we thought that if we can a person can give his profile, like whether he is from which state, whether is a man, woman, age, employed, unemployed, category. So it asks you a few basic questions, and then it tells you by searching from the back end about which are the schemes that you are available to, which you can access. I know Haqdarshak also does something similar, but it has been modeled in such a way that it is able to provide that information at the click of a button, and then you can also apply for those schemes. And you can not only apply, and while applying, we are bringing in a feature of ask only once. Like if any of the government databases has any information which is already available with us, like date of birth or address or domicile or any other basic demographic parameter which is available in either the Aadhaar or the driving license or the PAN card, which are part of the DigiLocker ecosystem, then we won't ask the citizen to prove that again. Because half the problem becomes that every citizen for availing any scheme has to go to multiple public offices and try to prove who he is, what his address is, whether he is domiciled in that state or not, whether he is eligible for that scheme or not. So eligibility, proving the eligibility becomes the last mile challenge, and that's where our functionaries extract their pound of flesh, and that's where governance suffers. So if we can use technology to bridge that, and we can use that, if we can use API to do KYC for opening mutual fund accounts, can we not use APIs for verifying the credentials of people who are applying for public schemes? So that's the principle on which My Scheme works, and it ensures that people don't need to prove themselves to multiple departments. You only ask for incremental information which is relevant for delivery of that particular scheme. And then when we started moving forward, we also realized that just this web or the mobile app interface is something that would not empower the last 500 million people in India. We say very often that 875 million people are connected to the internet and they are accessing e-services. But when we say that, we also realize that we have 500 million people who are not connected. How do we bring these 500 million people to access e-services that we are offering? So that's where what we find is that language plays a big role, and to make services not only available in English and Hindi, but make them available in all languages. And that's where the Bhashini project is playing a key role, about which Mr. Nilekani also mentioned. And Bhashini is published its APIs, which are available on apisetu.gov.in. Anybody can consume. It allows for speech-to-speech, text-to-text, speech-to-text and text-to-speech translations. And using the Bhashini APIs and the My Scheme portal, where discovery of schemes was possible, the Bhashini team also worked out something that we are calling it Jugalbandi. It has been in news recently because Satya Nadella has been talking about it after he got a demo in January. And what it does is that it integrates the Bhashini APIs with the WhatsApp APIs, and then a citizen can actually ask a question with regard to his eligibility for a particular scheme or any information. And that speech is converted to text, and that text is fed to a LLM engine working on the OpenAI ChatGPT interface. And that information is pulled out, and the citizen gets that information on the WhatsApp and in a voice mode. Some of you might have seen that, but if connectivity permits, I will use 1 minute to show how it works. So this is WhatsApp interface. It's in a pilot phase. We are testing it right now. So we call it Bhashini Jugalbandi, and here I can ask a question via voice note, because most people are not very comfortable typing on a web or a mobile interface. They would prefer to communicate with voice. So how it works is that suppose I want to ask, मैं एक किसान हूँ, मैं उत्तर प्रदेश में रहता हूँ, मेरी मासिक आय 10,000 रुपये है, मुझे सरकार से कुछ मिल सकता है क्या? So I ask with voice on this, and then what it does is that this voice, the speech, the Bhashini APIs will convert it into text. So it is connected. हमें आपका प्रश्न प्राप्त हो गया, मैं एक किसान हूँ, मैं उत्तर प्रदेश में रहता हूँ, मेरी मासिक आय 10,000 रुपये, मुझे सरकार से कुछ मिल सकता है क्या? It has converted speech to text, and then what we will do is that this text will be fed into LLM, and then it says, it gives the reply about the various schemes. And then it converts to
निम्नलिखित योजनाएं मिली जो सहायक हो।
one second.
एक, प्रधानमंत्री, मुझे निम्नलिखित योजनाएं मिली जो सहायक हो सकती हैं। आप किसके बारे में अधिक जानना चाहेंगे? एक, प्रधानमंत्री किसान सम्मान निधि। दो, महात्मा गांधी राष्ट्रीय ग्रामीण रोजगार गारंटी अधिनियम। तीन, NBFDC सामान्य ऋण योजना। चार, प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना। पाँच, स्टैंड अप इंडिया। छह, अनुसूचित जाति के छात्रों के लिए उच्च श्रेणी की शिक्षा। सात, गरीब लड़कियों के लिए राज्य विवाह सहायता योजना।
So so this reply comes in speech, and then you can keep on asking कि प्रधानमंत्री किसान निधि ये क्या होती है, इसको कैसे मिलता है, कहाँ मिलेगा. It will give you common service center, it will give you the location and keeps the context. So the way we are trying to train is that ultimately citizens would love to interact with voice, would want to ask questions and get information based on their profile, based on their information. And I am sure once this is launched and once this is made available, organizations like Haqdarshak and all can further amplify it, can further, and once we release these APIs, Haqdarshak can further take it to the people where it will really be beneficial. So these are some of the things that we are doing, trying to empower people, trying to ensure that availability of correct information is there, authentication with APIs, DigiLocker, documents availability, and all this intent of doing it in this fashion, making the APIs available in the open domain, is primarily to ensure that our entrepreneurs, our organizations like Haqdarshak make use of it and make the solution further better. So I am sure that working together, working close cooperation, and as Mr. Nilekani always says, India's story of digital transformation is a classic case of coming together of government, private sector and non-profits and social organizations, wherein everybody has contributed to the whole ecosystem. What we are seeing in ONDC and what we are seeing in account aggregator framework, or what we have seen on Rakesh is here will speak about Diksha, wherein community has also contributed to the entire knowledge base. And similar thing that we are trying to do in Karam Yogi Bharat in order to ensure that how do we use technology to upskill government servants. So that's the journey that we have embarked on, that's the journey we have taken together, and I'm really grateful and thankful. Haqdarshak is a partner of the Umang Assisted Access Program, wherein Umang services are available to organizations like Haqdarshak also. So I compliment them for organizing this Yojana Sabha, and I am sure with the galaxy of people who are available today, the organizations which are available today, we will be beneficial by getting their ideas and suggestions, and look forward to, I won't be able to stay for the whole program today, but I look forward to getting the report of this Yojana Sabha and what more we need to do to empower people at the grassroots. So thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to be here.